Imagine you're at a huge fair. Food, smells, music, kids running. You pay for a ticket and the main attraction is people. That's not a metaphor. These were mass events with crowds so big they stop feeling like a crowd and start feeling like the public. And the public did what humans do best. They copied each other's reactions. Mirror neurons, group laughter, group pointing. In this compilation, each photo shows the same setup. Staged daily life, staged ritual, staged combat. Not to educate you, to position you. Number 1, Ota Benga, Bronx Zoo, New York, USA. You look at the Ota Benga photo and you feel it fast. It reads like a zoo scene before your brain even finds the bars. The pose, the stare, the space around him that says, "Don't cross." Now imagine you're at the Bronx Zoo in 1906. A day off. Signs, crowds, that low buzz of folks acting like this is normal. You drift closer because everyone else is drifting closer. But here's the thing. The cage isn't just metal. It's a script. Psychologists call this social comparison theory. You feel higher because someone is placed lower, with witnesses. And people did push back. Black clergy and community leaders protested. You're not watching a man. You're watching a lesson being taught. Number 2, Paris Colonial Exposition, France. The Paris 1931 photo looks like a fun day out. Banners, crowds, a fair vibe. So why does it feel like a factory line for making beliefs? You walk in and it hits your senses first. Food smells, bands playing, posters everywhere. Big paths that funnel you forward, so you see what they want, in the order they chose. Research shows about 34 million visitors came through in 6 months. That many eyes on the same scenes. Mirror neurons kick in. Group cues kick in. You copy the face that gets approval. Then you notice the villages, railings, fences, raised platforms, not for safety, for ranking. Significantly, there were barriers to reinforce the notion of separateness. Think about what that actually means. A crowd shot is an idea spreading. Number 3, Exposition Internationale, Brussels, Tervuren Human Zoo, Belgium. You see the neat paths and the clean fence, and it feels colder than a cage. Everything looks tidy, like it's been approved. You're at Belgium's colonial displays tied to Brussels and Tervuren. Signs point you along. People stroll slow. It plays like a garden walk, so your body relaxes. But here's the trick. Clean design makes violence feel official. Psychologists call this moral disengagement, when the setting tells you it's education, so guilt stays quiet. Congolese people were placed in built scenes meant to look natural. You watch from behind wooden fences at a safe distance. Some got sick. Some died from poor care and bad weather. The fence works like a lab wall. Data on one side, judge on the other. This wasn't chaos. It was bureaucracy with a camera. Number 4, Hagenbeck's Ethnographic Exhibitions, Germany. You look at the Hagenbeck image and it feels like a circus ad. Bright, clean, made to sell. So why does it read like a draft of modern marketing? In Germany, Karl Hagenbeck ran traveling ethnographic shows as a real business. He started with Samoan and Sami groups, pitched as purely natural, then scaled up fast. Agents brought Nubian people from the Egyptian Sudan, and later Inuit people from Labrador. But here's the thing. You weren't just seeing difference, you were being trained. Posters told you what you'd feel before you walked in. Sets mimicked habitats. Routines got staged. And when humans appear beside wild animals, the brain files them as a collection. Social comparison theory with branding. When a stereotype gets a logo, it lasts. Number 5, St. Louis World's Fair, Philippine Village, USA. The photo shows huts, people, a whole village. So why does it feel like a lab setup? Like someone is testing what you'll believe? You're at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. Big buildings, big flags, big confidence. The message is simple. Look what we own. Look what we manage. But here's the thing. The exhibit ranks people like steps on a ladder. Different Filipino groups get sorted into types, and the top step is always the American visitor. Then come the scripts. Repeat the dances. Do the work. Stage the conflict. Even repeat a seasonal dog-eating ritual over and over for shock. If they look childlike, control starts to feel like care. Number 6, Osaka Industrial Exhibition Human Displays, Japan. You expect this kind of photo to come from Europe. So why is it sitting in the middle of an industrial show in Osaka? You're walking past steel frames, loud gears, new lights. Progress is the vibe. You're meant to feel proud, like the future is already here. But then you see the human displays. Controlled space. Set dressing. People watched like a feature, not a neighbor. And it clicks. Modern can be built by pushing someone else into the role of behind. Japan's empire building in Asia used the same barrier logic. Curated actions, clear lines, crowds learning the ranking. Psychologists call this social comparison theory. Progress becomes a pecking order. Number 7, Milan International Exposition, Human Village, Italy. The Milan photo looks like a normal weekend. Moms, dads, kids, a stroller parked like it's nothing. So why is that the part that sticks in your throat? You're at the Milan International Exposition, walking in light clothes, hearing laughs, seeing people smile for the camera. It feels safe because it's framed as fun. But here's the thing. Psychologists call this normalize and deny. When harm comes packaged as leisure, your brain files it under fine. The village is built for sightlines, huts set like props, showtimes for daily tasks, tool work, and rituals, even staged fights. The constant gaze forces self-monitoring. You snack, you stare, you move on. Number 8, Paris Colonial Exposition, Portugal. You see flags and uniforms and clean lines, and it looks like a proud national photo. So why does it feel like a chart of who counts as fully human? You're at Porto's Colonial Exhibition in 1932. The state is teaching you what Portugal is and where overseas fits in. It's not subtle. It's a public lesson with a ticket booth. But here's the thing. The scene runs in 2 timelines. You get modern buildings, order, power. The exhibited people get staged primitive sets, like they live in the past. Authenticity gets policed. Clothes, work, rituals, all curated to match the empire's story. Psychologists call this social comparison theory. Citizenship feels taller when the state hosts the gaze. Number 9, Marseille Colonial Exhibition, France. You're looking at a port photo from Marseille and it hits weird. Same logic as shipping crates. Neat, stackable, labeled. Imagine you're there during the colonial exhibitions, when the city sells itself as a gateway. Ships in, goods out. People moving like clockwork. The whole place already thinks in cargo. But here's the thing. The exhibit treats culture like a product. Packaged as native life, tagged as proof of empire, then served up by the hour. You follow set routes through themed zones. You stop on cue for timed acts. Barriers keep it clean and efficient, so you can compare without contact. Psychologists call this social comparison theory mixed with consumer behavior. The photo isn't a memory. It's a supply chain of stereotypes. Number 10, Hamburg Tierpark, Native Villages, Germany. In the Hamburg Tierpark photo, you can't always tell where the animal pens end and the human display starts. That blur matters because your brain learns by sorting fast. You buy a ticket, follow the path, stop where the crowd stops. It feels like a normal zoo day. Then you hit the native village, mock huts, props, people placed like part of the park. But here's the thing. In a zoo frame, humans become specimens by association. Psychologists call this dehumanization, and it sticks because it feels routine. You see fences, signs, even the Kaiser meeting Ethiopians behind a wooden barrier. Kids point, adults laugh. The barrier measures you, too. Now you see what these images really are. Not odd mistakes. Not one bad era. They're mass psychology in public, using social comparison theory to make a ranking feel like plain sense. Research shows around 1.4 billion people saw ethnographic displays. After World War II, they faded as TV took over and money got tight, so the old spectacle started to look outdated. But the fence didn't vanish. It just moved. Next time you see a barrier in a photo, museum, news, social media, ask what it's training you to feel. Drop a comment and share your story. Hit like and subscribe because we dive deep into psychology that actually explains how your mind works.